Libertarian hypocrisy, advocating for competition, except when it comes to property rights. Libertarian and anarcho-capitalist thought espouses competition as the foundation of progress, innovation, and economic efficiency. The free market, according to these systems, should be one where individuals and businesses compete to provide the best goods, services, and ideas, driving productivity and societal benefit. Yet, there exists a glaring hypocrisy within this framework. While competition is championed for most economic activities, systems like Lockean property rights and intellectual property, regardless of how they are viewed, still create artificial barriers that suppress competition and the forces that should drive innovation and economic growth. In their defense of property rights, many libertarians and ANCAPs end up endorsing or tolerating forms of capital hoarding and monopolistic control that reduce productive efficiency. This essay explores the contradiction where competition is championed but suppressed, particularly in property ownership and intellectual property regimes, highlighting the inefficiencies created when owners decide who can use capital or ideas. Lockean ownership and IP monopolies, tools for capital hoarding. At the core of capital hoarding and capital monopoly lies the concept of ownership. According to Lockean property rights, individuals have a natural right to own property by mixing their labor with it. This concept underpins much of libertarian property theory and is often viewed as a fundamental natural right. However, when applied in practice, Lockean ownership often leads to hoarding, enabling individuals or corporations to accumulate vast amounts of capital, be it land, physical assets, or intellectual property, and prevent its more productive use by others. Intellectual property similarly grants holders exclusive control over ideas, inventions, and creative works. The inventor's right to determine who may produce or use their creation is directly analogous to the homesteader's right to decide who can use their land or capital. But this power, whether over physical or intellectual property, is inherently inefficient. In both cases, owners restrict the natural flow of resources to those who can make the most productive use of them. Such restrictions artificially limit competition, prevent the market from allocating resources where they produce the greatest value, and consequently reduce overall productivity and innovation. The irony of restricting competition. The fundamental irony in libertarian and anarcho-capitalist thought is that while they vehemently oppose government interference and champion competition as a liberating and productive force, they simultaneously uphold property systems that restrict competition by granting exclusive control over capital and ideas. Just as government regulations create artificial barriers that reduce market dynamism, these property rights, especially when rigidly enforced, can act as private barriers to entry, locking out more productive uses of capital and ideas. In a genuine market, resources should flow to those who can deploy them most efficiently. Competition functions to eliminate redundancy and direct resources toward their highest value uses. Yet, when property owners, be they homesteaders or inventors, retain the power to dictate who uses their capital or ideas, the market is constrained. Capital becomes stagnant, monopolists extract rents from artificially created scarcity, and innovation slows. This is where libertarians and ANCAPs ironically replicate the very behavior they criticize in governments, imposing artificial monopolies that block competition and diminish overall economic productivity. Capital monopoly and the evolutionary capitalist perspective. From the perspective of evolutionary capitalism, such capital monopolies are profoundly inefficient. Evolutionary capitalism values the dynamic reallocation of capital. Resources should continuously shift to the most productive users to maximize societal growth and evolutionary profit. In nature, inefficient use of resources results in those resources being redirected toward better users. Similarly, economic capital, physical or intellectual, should be allocated through competition to those best equipped to generate value. When capital monopolies persist, whether through property ownership or IP protections, resources become locked and inaccessible to potentially more productive competitors. This creates market stagnation and blocks evolutionary progress. Competition, by eliminating redundant and inefficient uses of capital, ensures resources are directed to where they generate the most value and output. A system that truly values competition must challenge not just government monopolies but also private monopolies created through property and IP laws that grant owners the unchecked right to exclude others. The role of reputation in bidding systems in overcoming capital monopoly. The way forward lies in reputation-based bidding systems, where access to capital, whether land, assets, or intellectual property, is allocated based on past productivity and demonstrated ability to use resources effectively. This system inherently rewards those who maximize value and innovation, dismantling artificial monopolies maintained by exclusive ownership. Through this system, those who hoard capital are pressured to release it or face being outcompeted by more productive actors. This ensures capital flows dynamically, promoting innovation, economic efficiency, and evolutionary progress consistent with a true market ideal. Conclusion: the Libertarian Paradox. In conclusion, the libertarian hypocrisy lies in championing competition for all while defending or tolerating exclusive property rights, both physical and intellectual, that restrict competition and reduce overall productivity. By allowing property owners the unchecked power to decide who can use capital or ideas, libertarians and ANCAPs replicate government-like monopolistic barriers that block market efficiency and innovation. Embracing evolutionary capitalism and reputation-based resource allocation offers a way to correct these artificial restrictions, ensuring capital flows to its highest value use. This approach would resolve the contradiction between libertarian ideals of competition and the reality of property-based monopolies, fostering a more productive, innovative, and truly competitive true market.